go to account layout, and then here you have a related list. Here you have account history, right? You just simply drag and drop that one. So if you enable the field history tracking, automatically behind the scene a new object created. Okay, so that is called account underscore history underscore C, something like that. So if you are enabling field history tracking for student object, a new object will be created in the behind the scene called account underscore history underscore C. Okay, so in that one, fields will be created and the values will be automatically populated by the Salesforce if you enable the field history tracking. So you simply have to drag this one, and then whenever a value is changed in that particular field, a new record will be created. There you can see all those things. Okay. So this page name section will come again. We have a PPT, separate PPT for this one. I'll cover this one. Okay. So this is how we have to configure the field history tracking. I'll go to the next one. The next one is the important one. Okay, so object relationship. In Salesforce, we can establish many to many relationship using lookup and master detail relationship. Okay, so basically you guys are aware of what is relationship field. So it's same as the relational database system. So if you want to relate one table with another table, you can use the relationship field in Salesforce. And the way we are establishing the relationship is different from what we are doing in the RDBMS. Okay, but the concept is same. We have a primary key and we have a foreign key, something like that. But in Salesforce, we are doing this in a separate way. I mean, different way. Okay. And again, I told you, right? So there are two types of relationship are there. One is lookup relationship and master detail relationship. Both are used to establish many to many relationship. Then you guys have questions like, then why do we have two different data type, right? So the difference between lookup relationship and master relationship is that if you are using a lookup relationship, that time that mapping, one record is related to another object record. So that is the relationship, right? So when you are creating a child record, the child record may or may not have a parent record. So those mapping of parent record is optional in lookup relationship. But when it comes to master detail relationship, every child should have the parent record associated with it. Otherwise, you cannot create the child record. Okay. So long story short, lookup relationship parent record mapping is optional, but in master detail relationship, parent record mapping is mandatory. So this is the important thing you need to know about lookup relationship and master detail relationship. And yesterday you guys seen about the account and contact, right? So account and contact is the example of standard relationship in Salesforce. So one account is, one contact is related to account. Each account can have multiple contacts, but a contact can have only one account. Okay, basically it's a one-to-many relationship establishment. So you can establish one-to-many relationship using lookup and master detail relationship. You can also establish many-to-many relationship using junction object. So junction object will cover this in a separate topic, but right now we'll focus only on lookup relationship and master relationship. So I'll quickly show you how to create a relationship. So this is same as creating other fields. Okay, so I'll go to student object, click fields and relationship. Here you can click new. Yeah, here you can see lookup and master detail relationship, right? So you can simply click lookup relationship and click next. You will see in which table or which object this particular student object is related to. So I simply select account and then I'll click save. So here you can give the field name, okay, account name or something like that. You can give, and then in the next page they will show for what are all the profiles this particular field is visible and all. So there you can set all those fields. So this is how you can create a lookup relationship. So the lookup relationship creation, you already saw that one. Master detail relationship page will also the same. Okay, so this is how we'll establish a relationship between two tables, and I'll just simply show you. how that will be look in the UI. Okay. So this is the lookup field we have created in the student object. So if you click here, and automatically Salesforce will show the list of accounts. Okay, so here I have a various accounts. So say for example, let's here I'm selecting this particular account, and then I just simply click save. So what we can do is, here we have a lot of accounts, right? So say for example I have edge communication and I want to map a particular student with this account. So what I can do is I simply open this one, click edit. So here you can also search. Okay, yeah, if you search for edge communication, they will automatically show the edge communication. So this search option is also available here. So if you know the account name, you can simply search and they will show the account name, and you just simply click it, and automatically the particular account will be mapped to this particular student. So just click save. Okay, so this is how we have to create the lookup and master detail relationship, and this is how you have to populate the value for uh, value in the records. We have created the lookup relationship, right? So that's why it's not mandatory to map this particular value, but if you create a master detail relationship, that time you should give a value, otherwise you cannot uh, create or save a particular record in the student object. Okay, yeah, these are all some things you need to know about. On the associated record, you can display a related list to show all the records that have been linked to it. So what they are saying is, we are showing an account, right? So if you go to account, I mean this is a student record, and if you go to account and let's open that edge communication, and when you go to the related tab, here you can see the student tab. So here they will show what all the student records are mapped to this particular account. So basically the account is the parent object and the student is the child object. So what are all the child records are mapped to this particular parent record, that will be shown here. So this is what that particular uh, point is mentioning here. You can prevent records from being deleted if they are a lookup relationship. So which means, if you delete a lookup relationship, I mean if you delete the child object, what will happen the parent object? That means if you delete the child object, nothing will happen to the parent object. But if you delete the parent object, the child object will have a value, right? That value has the parent account name or something like that, right? So that particular field value will be empty. Nothing will happen to the child object itself. But when it comes to master detailed relationship, if you delete the parent object or parent record, the child record will also gets deleted. So I'll tell you that one also. And another one is, here is the lookup filters. So what is lookup filter is, uh, here I go to Nanda record, and then here you can search all the account records. Okay, say for example I have 100 account records, but when I uh, give a value here, I don't want to give all the 100 records, but based on some criteria I have to filter the records. So that can be done using the filter criteria. So I'll quickly show you how to set up the filter criteria. So what you can do is, this is the lookup field we have created, right? So just open this field, And then when you comes down, I'll click edit. Okay, if you come down, we have a lookup filter option. Okay, so here you can give the account name, and then I'll give industry equals banking. So if I set this particular criteria for this particular field, what will happen is whenever I'm searching for this value, only the account that is related to the banking sector will be filtered here. Okay, not all the accounts will be shown here based on the criteria we have configured here. Only those records will be shown here. Other records will not be shown here, and you cannot map those records here. Okay, so this is the filter criteria. So limit search, I mean, if you want to limit the search result for related fields, then you can use the filter criteria. Can compare field to other field or static value. So I showed you, right? So here you can give a value or field in a record also. Say for example, this particular student record has a field called industry. So that industry field should match with the account object industry field. So that also can be done using this particular conditions. So this can be required or optional. So what does that mean is this particular filter option is there, right? If you mark it as required, you can select only those filtered records. But if it is an optional, first they will show that one. But when you search that one, you can remove that filter option will be there. So you can remove that filter option also there. So that you can set here. So required and then option. So those will be enabled here. So this is all about the lookup filters. And then this is the master detail relationship. Okay, master detail relationships are a bit tighter, which means each and every child record should have a parent record. So, and in this type of relationship, one object is the master and another one is the detail, which means master means parent object and detail means child object. And this involves some record visibility, and also that will be covered in the security session. And detail object does not work as a standalone, and it is highly dependent on the master. It means if there is no master record, then there is no use of the child record. So this is what they are mentioning. I'll give you a simple example. Okay, so in this example, imagine they are building the solution for real estate agents. Okay, so we have an object called property and we have an object called offer. So if that particular property has a property details, and in offer object we have the offer applicable for that particular property. Okay, so in that scenario we are using the master detail relationship to establish the one-to-many relationship for that property and offer. Say for example, I'm deleting the property record, so that time there is no use of this offer record, right? Because without the property record there is no use of this offer. So in that scenario, what we'll do is we'll use the master detail relationship to establish the relationship between property and offer. So whenever I create a property record, I mean whenever I delete the property record, automatically the offer record that is mapped to that particular property will also get deleted. So we'll call this effect as the cascading delete. Okay, so this is the property, or this is the word that we use. That particular master record is deleted, then automatically child record will also get deleted. So this is what we call as cascading delete. So this is the unique feature of the master detail relationships. And then you can convert, right? So I already told you can change the data types, right? So these are all some considerations when you are convert the lookup relationship to master detail or master detail to lookup relationship. So the first thing is can convert a master detail relationship to a lookup relationship, which means we haven't seen about the roll-up summary field, right? I'll show you that one. Roll-up summary field is coming right away. And then if we have any roll-up field, that time you cannot convert the master detail to a lookup relationship. Okay, and can convert a lookup relationship to master detail if the lookup field in all records contains the value. I told you, right? Master detail relationship, in master detail relationship, all the child record should be mapped to a parent record, right? So in lookup relationship it is optional. So first time you are creating the lookup relationship between two objects, that time you have created some records. Okay, so among that few records, there are some records that don't have a master mapping, which means parent mapping record. Okay, so that time when you are try to convert the lookup relationship field into master detail relationship, that time they will show the error like few of the records are not mapped to the parent record. So you will get a error like this. So that time what you need to do is you can do two things. One is you can delete all the child records and then you can convert the lookup to master detail, or else you can update all the child records and map those records with some corresponding parent record. Then that time you can be able to update the lookup relation field to master detail relationship. So these are all some considerations you need to know when you are converting the relationship conversion. Okay, and then formulas, external ID and unique ID. Surya, can you explain this one?
Yes.
You want to share your screen or?
Yeah, I can share.
Okay.
Okay. Are you able to see my screen?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So formula, external ID, unique ID is basically it's a type. Data formula is a data type. While we create a field, you have seen that there is a data type called formula, right? So that is what we are going to see here. So let me explain what are these. Formulas is used to perform calculations. You may have some operations like logical operations, arithmetic operations like plus, minus, multiply, or you may have other functions like data. I mean, you need only the date value of that particular field, or you need only the time value of the particular field. You may have different kinds of operations that you want to perform. So for those, you will be able to create formulas in a particular object, and then you can use those data types. Okay, so you have logical data type, arithmetic, and lots of data type. So that can be used in Salesforce. And you can have these hyperlinks also. For example, if you have a link, URL link, then you can create a field with a URL, or based on some condition you want to show particular URL, you can have that also in these formula fields. Okay, so that is basically called a formula. And external ID is something that it's used to refer. For example, we can have data from another system that we will I will just explain what is meaning of another system in the upcoming slides. We will have a data management session after this, so in that I will explain. So you will get record from another system also, right? So when we are loading that data into Salesforce, like for example the student data will be in the student website for particular college, and if you are getting that record from them, you can have an external ID. For example, that may be student ID. You may have an ID in your ID card, right? So that ID or office ID, you can store that as an external ID in the Salesforce, so that in the future, if you need any comparison with that website or with that site that you have the record, you can easily navigate through that external ID. That will be common from that another system and Salesforce instance. So that is what we call as external ID. Mostly that is will be a unique one. We will create it as a unique so that it doesn't have any duplicate. That is external. Unique is also, yeah, that we mentioned. Unique ID is something that external ID will be unique, and you see the Salesforce ID, so that is also unique. That is why we call it as a unique ID, so that it prevents from creating multiple record with the same value. Okay, and then let's see, for time being we will show the examples in the sheet itself. So for example, formula for a full name. Okay, so most of the time account or contact or in any object, you will capture first name and then last name, middle name, whatever, three names or two names. So you want to concatenate that into one field. For example, Surya is my first name and Murthy is my last name. I want to show in a field that has my first name and last name, right? So for that, we will have a formula like first name, ampersand, and then we will have these apostrophe, and then we will have the another ampersand, and then last name. So this is something you will have different type of formula for same requirement. This is one type of formula that we have taken. So this is called a logical operation here, right? So when you add this ampersand, it will just take the first name, and then this is to give a space between the first one and the second one. That's why we have used this one. So this will give a space, and then it will take the last name. So Surya space Murthy. You will get the result as Surya space Murthy. Now we coming as condition formula. So if I have some value, I need to show some other value. So for that you have these conditions. So if is nothing but we would have already studied in the classes, right? If we are background of computer science, we may know this if condition, else condition. So this is basically the same formula. So annual revenue is one field. Okay, so this is like 1 million. This is, if it's quite difficult, you can see this diagram. Okay, so if annual revenue is greater than 1 million, okay, and so this is a logical symbol called and, right? So contains the country value as US, it may be America, US, USA, anything, all these as or US, right? So the case function, I think we might be familiar with the switch function in the in other database, in other sites. So that is basically case is nothing but if this country is US or America, show it as US. Like you may have switch values, this or this or this, like a switch, right? So that is called case. So if it contains any of these value like equals US, then another condition is lead source. So you might be confused with this ispic val, ispic val. So ispic val is a function. As I said that formula field provides lot of function. Ispic val is also one of the function. Since from the name you can find that it will be used for choosing any pick list value. Okay. So since this source is a pick list value, we are using this ispic val function. So if it is in this pick list value, if that is partner referral, then we need to show it as hot. If it is true, then US and greater than 1 lakh, show it as hot. Or else if it is false, okay, here if it is false, then it will check the sources if it is purchase list or web. So this symbol, it is an or symbol, right? So if it is a purchase list or web, it should true or false. False means it is cold. If it is any one of the value, it should show as warm. If it is none of these value, then it should show cold. Otherwise it fails from here itself. Like if it is not greater than 1 million, or if the country itself not equal to US, then automatically it goes to the false loop, that is cold. So this is basically we use for if conditions. For example, if you choose the student how to say state is Tamil Nadu, since we showed in the dependent pick list, instead of that pick list we can have a separate field value, and then you can just populate. If they chose the state as Tamil Nadu, automatically populate it as Chennai. So instead of hot, we can have it as Chennai, and then otherwise leave nothing. Put false and you can have no value. Then it will not put any value. So these are the conditional formula values. And then next also we have the same. So this is the requirement. If the lead rating is hot, the formula shows 5 stars. Warm, the formula shows 3 stars. Cold, the formula shows 1 star. So this is nothing but to indicate, like pictorial representation. We can have images also inserted to these values. For example, the rating. So rating is the field that we have had here, right? So if the rating is hot, we will have the image that is showing 5 stars. And then warm, we have the image showing 3 stars. And if it's cold, you will have 1 star. Or else it can be any, it will not show any star. So how these images have been taken, you can have it in the static resource. So that is a separate session. So in that you can load your image, and from that you can have these images here. Okay, if we have time, I will show at the end of the session that how those static resources work. So this is one formula. So the same way works for the another formula also. So the formula uses the billing state of US based on the account. So if it's north, south or west, the states will be shows according. For example, if it's AK, Arizona, California, any state is matching these value, then it is west. If it is matching any of these value, then it should be east. Likewise, we can put for south, north, and nothing also. If there is no building state, then there will be, if it is blank, is blank means from the name itself we can find it out. If it is blank, there is no value, then means populate this. So this is basically the formulas that we have examples here. Okay, so this is for number. You can calculate the percent. For an example, we will have this PNR by 100, principal value, margin value, minimum value. If you are like working on any restoring or retail price, so if they are coming from the dress department, then they may have discounts. So they have a MRP price, discount price, right? So to calculate those things, we can use these formulas. And then temperature also. If it is minimum of 500, then you have to have this into this, so that how much Fahrenheit the temperature is for particular zone or particular state or particular city anywhere. So you have lot of formulas in the, okay, formula, then okay, formula demo, we will show that. So that is why the formula fields, you have the numeric text or date value, any formula field, and then they are read only. So this is very important. Formula field will be a read only field in the UI level. You cannot change the value, as it is a formula that is automatically calculated through the Salesforce. So you cannot edit that field. Whoever, even a system admin, nobody can edit that field. It's a read only field. And in the edit page or in the creation page, you will not be able to see that value. Only on save, in the record level, you can see the value. And you cannot reference this field on the same. You can have this field referenced in the parent or lookup also. And you cannot reference the currency code, description, or the long text area field. Those cannot be referenced in the formula field. And the return type, for example, if this value, if the condition meets criteria, if yes, we have to populate one value, if no, we will populate another value, right? So there are different types of return type for that. You can use checkbox as a return type, and you can use currency, you can use date and time, number, percent, text. So these are the return type. And the field referenced by the formula. For example, now I have used okay, this rating field, right? So I have used this in the formula. In the future, I don't want this rating field. I'm trying to delete that field. Then means you cannot delete that field, because it will show that error that it is already referenced in a formula field. So you cannot delete that field. So if any fields are used in the formula, then it will not allow to delete it. Okay. So this is how it will look. Okay, so there is a simple formula and advanced formula. So in simple formula, you can see the right side, right? So you will have multiple functions in here. Whatever the functions you need, you just have to just click, and then if you click insert, it will insert automatically. Like it will be like an outline. So in that, you can just update your field name and value accordingly. So that is how you have to do. So in advanced formula, you will have an access to other functions also. And then since we have seen this lookup value, right? So for example, in the contact field, I need to have a field which is saying address of an account. Okay. So now you need to get the value from the account level. So you just have to populate as account billing address in the formula field of contact. Then you will get all the account fields in the contact. In the same way, you can go up to 10 levels of parent. Okay. For account, you have contact. You may have different. For contact, you may have another object as a child, and then that child will have another child. So in that way, you can go up to the level of 10 level, so that you can get the formula of your in through 10th level parent. You can take a formula from that and put it in the first level of the child. Okay, so this is up to 10 levels only. I think the Salesforce is providing till now. It has not been increased. So this is one of the consideration. Yeah. So Nanda, can you just show that functions alone in the object?
Yeah, okay.
So these are the basic of the formula. Nanda will show now what are the functions available So when you try to do some exercise, just work on those functions, just click and insert, you will able to find out with that itself.
Okay, I'll tell you how to create a new formula field and how the formula editor will look like. Okay, so I'm in the student object. Go to fields and relationship. Now click a new button. Here you can find a data type called formula. So click that formula and go to next. So here you have to give the formula name. Okay, so I'll give it as the full name. So each and every formula should have a return type. So these are all the return types we can give. So one is a checkbox, currency, date, date time, and number, percent, and text box. So every formula should have a return type. So for our example, I'll give a text and I'll go to next. This is the formula editor. Okay, so this is the simple formula editor. So here you can reference a field that is in the student object. So if you click that one, they will show the student object, and the formulas are not there, right? So for that, what you can do is just click the advanced formula. Yeah. In this one, if you want to insert any field, then just click insert field. So here from student, these are all the fields are available. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add student name and as well as the father name. Okay, so we have a field called student name, right? So I'm insert and then I'm going to append that, right? So here operator is also available. So you just click it operator. So these are all the operators are available. So there is an operator called concatenate, right? So I'll click that concatenate. Again I'll click the, here we have a father's name, right? So insert. And then if you want a space in between the student name and the father name, what I'll do is I'll simply give a space and then I'll put an ampersand. That's it. And if the syntax is correct or not, here we have a button called check syntax. So if you click that one, it will automatically compile your formula and it will tell you if there is any error in this one. So it will show that syntax error. Okay. So if you see this side, you can see a list of functions that are available. So this is categorized as date and time. So we have a functions called add month and we have so many functions. Okay, so you don't need to write each and every logic in this one. So you can simply click this time now and they will show you what this formula is used for and how this can be used. So these are all can be used and you have a hyperlink, right? So help on this document. So if you click this hyperlink, you will automatically redirect to the Salesforce help document. There you will have a list of formulas that is available in Salesforce formulas and how it can be used in the formula editor. So those things will be in that help document. Okay, and this is how you have to create the formula. Then you can click next, and in the next page they will show you this particular field. And one more thing Surya already mentioned, right? These formula fields are read only fields, so you cannot edit that field. So basically Salesforce will automatically calculate these values whenever you are viewing a particular record in the UI. Okay, so I'll click next and I say, okay, here I have full name, right? So whatever name I have given in the student name and father's name, those two things will be concatenated. So say for example, if I am giving Nanda and Kumar, I'm clicking save. So automatically Nanda Kumar Vijay, this will be automatically calculated. Okay, this is how we are using the formula field. And the return types are there, right? So there is a number, text, boolean, and all are there, right? So I think already showed all those things, right? So you
Yeah.
can view that help document and you can play around those formulas. Anything else you want to add, Surya, in this formula field?
No, that is all.
Okay. Okay, the next topic is the page layout. Okay, so what is a page layout? So say for example, I'm going to student and I click new. So here you can see the student name is here, father's name is here, and it will go in a uh, vertical way, right? So if you want to align those fields in a logical manner, then that time you need to go to the page layout and align those fields based on your business requirements or your user experience. Okay. So for that one, what you can do is go to student object or whatever object you want, and there is a section called page layout. You click that page layout, and here you will see the page layout. So I'll click the page layout. Here fields are there, right? So if you scroll down, this is the page layout section. Okay, so say for example, I want to align this student name and father's name here, and you can simply drag and drop those things. Okay, you don't need to do anything, you simply drag and drop. If you want to add some additional space between the account and owner, you can select the blank space here, right? So select the field, and then here you have a list of fields that is available for the particular object, and here you have a special component called blank space. So you can simply drag that one and you can insert that one. So this will give a blank space, and this is the sections, right? One is the information section and system section are there, right? So like that you can also add a section. So I'll add this section. So what's the name of this section? So I'll give a parent detail. So here you can set a column, one column or two columns. So this is a two column, so this is one column and this is two column. Or if you don't want two column, then here you can select it as one column. And then when you click the tab key, and how that particular cursor should navigate is controlled by using this one. So if you click that tab key, then left to right or top to bottom, you can control over here. And I give a parent detail and I'll click save. Okay, parent details section is created, and now I'm going to drag the father's name to this particular section. So this is how you segregated fields using a section. Okay, so this will enrich the user experience. And say for suppose you have a 50 or 100 fields in a particular object. When a user tries to give an input, so if you align those fields into a particular sections, then it will be easy for the users to enter a values or update a value. So there are a lot of things it's there in the page layout. So one is the fields and another one is the button. So here you can see some buttons, right? New contact, edit, or new lead, or clone, delete. These are all some buttons are there, right? So those buttons can be removed or added using this page layout itself. So you go to buttons and you can remove if you want to remove those buttons. Basically, this button is for classic view. So you guys know about classic view on lightning view, right? So this is the lightning view, and this is the one we are right now we are working on. That classic view is something that is older version of the Salesforce UI. Okay, so if you want to override those buttons, you click that one, and you can if you want to remove any of this button, you simply drag it and remove that one. If you want to add any buttons, you can simply drag it and you can place it over here. Yeah, you can simply add it, something like that. So, and then we are talked about the related list, right? So if you go to the related list, the related list basically, the parent object is there, right? The parent record, under that parent record, how many child records are there, we need to show, right? So that thing will be showed in the related list. So if you go to related list, and we have a notes and attachment and student history, we have enabled the tracking for student history, right? So if you have that one, so you can simply drag and drop it here. And then if you want to have the notes and attachment section, you can simply drag and drop it here. So this is how you can edit your page layout. And one more thing I want to show is here in this field we have a wrench icon, right? Hobbies and all. So if you click this one, we have two more options. One is read only and another one is required. So there are two things. One is you can give read only or required in the object level as well as in the page layout level. The difference is if you are giving those giving those values in the object level, nobody can skip that one. Which means you can create a record via manual entry or integration or data loading. We can do that one. Okay, but whenever you are making a particular field as read only in the object level, none of this can skip that particular field value. But if you are giving a required in the page layout level, whenever a user is created a record using this particular view, that time only this will be mandate. Otherwise, remaining time it will not be mandate. Okay, and two things you can give. One is read only and another one is required. Okay, these things and all you can configure in the page layout section.
I just want to add one thing here. So as you saw, Nanda created a lot of fields. So at the last step, it will be asking one question, that do you want to add this field to the layout. So you will have this layout is a standard that Salesforce provides automatically when you create an object. So you can create manual, you can clone this layout and create new layout also. So in that time, if you want to add this particular field to only one layout, then you can just click that layout. If you didn't choose that layout, then all the fields will not be added to the layout. You have to come to this layout and manually drag those fields from the fields section. And then sometimes mistakenly you might have any added this to the layout. So you want to remove also, you can just put it and back to the layout so that it will get enabled. From that you can find that this field is not added to the layout and all the others are like grayed out, right? So that will already added to the layout. So this removing and adding also you will be doing playing all these things in the layout level.
Yeah, and I told you right, there are many multiple peoples are there in the Salesforce org. Say for example, one set of people should view this hobby field and another set of people should not view this hobby field is, you can restrict it via field level security. You can disable the permission for field level security, or else what you can do is you can create two page layout. One is for one set of people and another one is for another set of people. Okay, and in page layout there is one important thing is there, page layout assignment. We have only one page layout. If you have a multiple page layout, then we can assign each page layout to a particular profile. I'll click this page layout assignment. Okay, here you can see, here you can see. So for this particular profile, the page layout assigned is student layout. So say for example, if you have a multiple page layout, then you can control over here. Say for example, analytics cloud integration user should be assigned with another page layout. So you can click edit assignment and then you can change the page layout over here. So this page layout will control whenever a user is viewing a particular record. So based on this page layout assignment, the record will be shown. Okay. So this is the page layout assignment and the page layouts. Okay, page layout controls the position and organization of the field, section, buttons, letter lists that are visible to the user when viewing or editing. I showed you that one, right? So control the visibility and the editability of the fields on the record. I show you that required and read only and all, right? So that one you can do, or you can simply remove a particular field from the page layout, and that thing you can do that one. And we can set a field as read only or hidden. We can control which fields require user to enter and which don't, right? So this kind of things you can configure in the page layout configuration. And there are different sections are there in the left top corner, right? One is field, custom links or buttons and all, right? So like there are various things are there. Yeah, this one, field, button, quick actions, related list, report charts, quick actions and all there, right? So like that, various sections are there. Include field location, page section customization, field properties. Yeah. Okay. Now comes to record types. So I'll give you a quick example of what is the usage of record type. Say for example, we have a contact object, right? That contact object is specifically used to store the personal information. And now in our case, we have a business requirement called we need to store the technical stops and non-technical stop details. Okay, both are the personal details, but this is the different types of people, and that is a different type of people, right? But both are the personal details. So that time, instead of creating two different objects to store the two different personal information, what we'll do is we'll use one object and will create multiple record type, and each record type will represent a unique set of people. Okay, this is the business use case when you have to create the record type. So basically what it will do is different views of the same object with the differing data showing depending on the profiles or the user viewing. So whenever we create a record type, we'll create one record type, and then for that record type we will assign a page layout. So I will simply create one record type for you guys. So for that one, what you have to do is here we have a option called record types, right? So click that record type. I will create a record type in some other object. So let's go to contact. I'll go to record types, and then you create. Okay. So for that one, I'll select the contact layout. Okay. Then I'll click save. Okay, we have one record type. What I'll do is I'll create another one record type. So as I mentioned earlier, each record type should be associated with one particular page layout. So that's what I configured in the previous screen. So I have created two record types in the contact object. I will show you how it will look. Okay, if I click the normally in student you have seen, right, when I so this is the intelligent view. I will go to the list view. In the student object, whenever I click a new form will pop up, right? So but in contact we have created two record types. So whenever I click a new button, first they will ask me whether it is a technical staff or non-technical staff. So that time you can select a technical staff or non-technical staff based on your requirement. So I'll set the technical staff and click that next one. So this time only a form will be shown to enter the data. Okay. So when you want to go to record type is whenever the different page layout is needed, that time you can go to the record types, or else you can simply create a pick list field called type. In that type you can have two values, right? One is technical stuff and another one is non-technical stuff, and you can maintain a records over in a single object. But whenever a different page layout is required, that time you need to go with the record types. So the record type is associated with one page layout. And one more thing is, if you want to control the pick list values, and then that time also you need to go to record type. Okay, so example, for technical stuff, not all the pick list values is applicable. That time you can configure the pick list values also. So if I go to the technical stuff, I'll click that one, and here all the pick lists also are available, right? So if I click that edit, for this record type, these are all the values are available. Say for example, these two values should not be available for this record type. Then that time I can just remove that one. So whenever I create a record by choosing a specific record type that doesn't have a pick list value available, that time in UI these values will not be shown. Only these three values will be shown. These two remaining values will not be shown in the record type. So basically, page layout control and the pick list control will be handled in the record type configuration. Okay. So these are all the things they will explain here, and yeah, you can create a multiple record type and all, and you can control the pick list values here. And then if I'm looking at the detail page, how do I know? Okay, there is a field called record type in each and every object whenever you create a record type. Okay, so in that field will tell you in which record type under this particular record is created. So by looking at that field, you can come to know that okay, this particular record is created under this particular record type. So there is a automatic field will be created in behind the scene by Salesforce. So it will tell you which record type based on the user selected. Okay, and then this is how the page layout I showed you, right? So if you click the page layout section, this is how the look and feel will be, and this is when you click the record type, so this is how the look and feel will be. And yeah, roll up summary. So this is another one data type in the Salesforce, and this roll up summary field will tell you, you know, we have a lookup relationship, we have a master detail relationship, so which means we have a parent record and we have set of child records. So say for example, if you want to know how many child records are there in the parent detail page, then that time you can create a roll up summary field. So in that one we have a summary, we have aggregate functions, okay, count, sum, min, max and all. So basically, we'll create this roll up summary field in the parent object to count the number of child records. Or in child object, we have a field called amount, and we need to sum of all the child record amount and show that value in the parent record. Then that time we'll create a roll up summary field in the parent object, and we'll select the sum, and we have aggregate field is there, right? Here in this one, aggregate field is there, right? So here we will select that amount field or whatever the numeric field, and then here min max is also available. So minimum amount or maximum amount or something like that we can do calculation. So the roll up summary field will be created in a parent object, and only if you have a master detail relationship. For lookup relationship, you cannot create a roll up summary field. So to create a roll up summary field, you should use a master detail relationship. So these are all the two things you need to know about the lookup, roll up summary field. Surya, you want to add anything on this one?
No, not much. So as Nanda mentioned, it can be created only on the master record, not on the lookup fields. And for example, there are like multiple child and you are getting a count of that in the master object. If you delete any one of the two records, that will automatically calculate. So since these are the basic and only operation that is available for rollup. So you can have amount field. Mostly the sum will be used for amount, and count we will have for the count of records. So yeah, I think that is all we have for rollup.
Okay. Yeah, then yeah, data management. Surya, can you?
Yeah, sure, I can.
Okay.
Okay, let me share my screen. Okay. So data management, I'll try to just squeeze all these very soon. So data management is basically very important for this not only in any place, I mean in CRM, for any place, the client trust the Salesforce platform, so that our data is very safe and there is no loss, there is no any issue with the data, right? So data is the basically a building platform for the CRM. So what a kind of data management Salesforce provides, or is there some are third party tools we have for the data management? So we will see one by one. So basically the consideration is importing, updating, transferring and deleting. So what does import means? For example, as I mentioned before, Nanda said that there is a manual entry, right? So we will manually enter the record by clicking new from the particular object, or else we can have a separate spreadsheet, Excel spreadsheet. From that you can have the value, because basically an object is a table with the rows and column, right? So fields and records, so that represents the table. So an Excel is also a table format. So you will have the columns that is as a field name. I'll show you how that works. I mean, we cannot, I don't think we have time to show demo, but how that works I can show you. Okay, so that is called importing. Importing means you will create new records. Updating means you will update the existing record. Transferring is like, for example, you can transfer one data of, I mean, for owner to another owner. For example, Nanda might be a owner for one account, and I might be an owner of another account. Okay, so now I want to get all the account of Nanda to my name. I can just go to, there is an option called transfer in the Salesforce. Through that I can transfer the data. Okay, so that's why we have the CSV files. CSV file is nothing but an Excel file, comma separated values, and field matching, matching types, record IDs, external. So for these purposes we are having the data management. Okay, okay, let me show you data migration tools. So what is data migration is, for example, you may have another Salesforce org, or you have another database. As we mentioned before, you have another database, example, SQL database, any database. You might have the data in that particular database. You want to import that data to Salesforce. So, for example, you may have lakhs of records, thousands of records. You cannot manually entry all the record, right? So, for that purpose, what we will do is we will export. You have that sheet, and through these tools, okay, you can import that file to the Salesforce. So, you have the data import wizard, data loader, workbench, and data loader IO. So, data import wizard is nothing but a Salesforce uh, built-in application. So for example, this is a Salesforce environment. If I click data import in the setup, I have this. So these are all the integrations that we do. So data import wizard is the built-in functionality of Salesforce that has been available from initial time. But there are some consideration while working on the import that I will cover in next slide. So this is how the data import wizard looks. So in this you can see what is the status, what is the, how many records are created, how much are updated, how much is failed, everything, right? So you have a launch wizard here. When you click that, so it will open a wizard. Okay, this is how it happens. We have to choose the data, do the mapping, and start the import. Okay, so this is available only for these particular standard objects and is not available for custom objects. In standard, you have many objects, right? Opportunity, campaign, we have a lot of opportunity, but it supports only some of the standard objects. So that is one of the disadvantage in the data import. For example, now I'm going to import contact. Okay, so I will choose account and contact. What I'm going to do? Am I going to add new, or I am going to update the existing one, or I'm going to do both? So now if I'm going to do new, so these are the options they provide. What is the meaning is, so match contact. So for example, you may get a lot of leads from your website, right? So you may have a form like contact us. So through that you will get lot of leads. For example, one person may have 10 times completed that form. So you don't want to have that duplicate data into the Salesforce. That is why you will choose that match contact by name. For example, if Surya Murthy and Surya Murthy, two records are there, then it will take only one record. So it will eliminate the duplicate only if you give the option here, whether by name or email. These are the two that Salesforce provides. So we can choose any two. And account also, since it is connected with account, it is showing this account, or else we don't need to worry about this. Okay, so these options, I don't know if I explain you guys can understand. So trigger workflow rules and process. So as I mentioned, there are some processes customization that we can do that people will cover up in the upcoming sessions. So example, this might, when you are creating a record, you might have different process, right? For example, if this record is created, I want to send an email. You have a separate process for that. So now you are creating 1 lakh records or 1000 records. So for all the records, the email will be sent, right? So if you want to send that email, you have to click, this checkbox should be unchecked. If you don't want to send that email, then you have to, okay, I think I'm just saying in the other way. So if you want to send, you have to check it, or else you can uncheck it, then means it won't send. So these are the advantages of the data import, that you can eliminate the duplicate, and you can prevent them from, you can prevent the triggers and the workflow to fire. Okay, and then you can just click any of the drag CSV file or anything, just click CSV. Okay, then here you can choose file. This is from your local. You can choose any file. Okay, for I'm not okay, and then click open. Then it will just populate here. Okay, and then click next. So here is what we are going to do for the mapping. Mapping is nothing but, so these are the, let me show you the file. Okay, so this is the file, basic spreadsheet I have. So first name, last name, email, account ID. Okay, so the first name, last name, email is something that I have given, last name and email. Account ID is something that you can populate, or you don't need to populate. If you need particular contact should come under particular account, so what you have to do is, there is a separate ID, right? So for example, I'm not going to work, but let me just show you that. So if you go into account, okay, you have an account, right? So you will get an ID here. So you have to just copy that. So this is basically a lookup field that I'm already covered, right? So this account ID is a lookup field from contact. So if you want that contact to come under this particular account, then you just have to, I don't have edit permission. So what you have to do is, basically you just have to put the account ID here. If you put the account ID, then this particular Trailblazer person one will be created under that account. Okay, or else it will not. It will just create as a contact. So that is what you are going to map here. So first name is going to go to the contact's first name. Last name is going to go to the contact's last name. Email is going to go to the contact email. Account ID is nothing but, just click map, search for ID. You see, in the contact object we have an account ID. We just have to choose that. Then click map. Okay, then all will get mapped. So this is nothing. This will Salesforce always does this automatically, but this is sometimes may mapped wrongly, because it will always map with mostly the name, matching with the name. So if you want to change, you can just click change, and whatever the field you want to have to this map with Salesforce, you can do that. Okay, so this is how it looks, example. And then next, if you click, okay, so all the fields are mapped. There is no unmapped fields. Accounts and contacts, we are going to add new, and there is a sheet. And then if I click start import, then it will start the import. Okay, so that's how we will do. This is a basic import that we do through data import functionality, that is a built-in one. So this is how you can see how much okay, how much data is there, what is the processing time, how much records, 10 hours passed, status is completed. So if you go to contacts and see, all the contacts will be created. But the only thing is, since I haven't given any account name or account to populate it, so that is not being created. Okay, so you see, all Trailblazer are created, but you do not have any account information. That is the only reason I haven't given any account ID. So if I have given any account ID, then based on the account, you would have got the account name. Okay, so this is how we import large amount of data. So we will just see what are the consideration we have. Okay. Okay. So it is accessible through a UI step, but the only thing is you can load only up to 50,000 records. You cannot load more than that. So if you have a very small amount of records to load, you can go with the data import. Okay. So that is the main disadvantage of the data import. So data loader, Nanda, do we have time to demo, or can we just go through it?
You can just go through it. If they
Yeah,
want, I will
yeah,
simply
at the
show
end of
the
the
screen of
session.
the company.
Okay.
Yeah, end of the session I can.
Okay, data loader is nothing but an Apex data loader. So this is a third party function that is being accessed now by Salesforce, but it is one third party one. But this is very useful because we can import up to 5 million records at the time. But here only 50,000, so it can be operated by a GI also. So as I have shown you the import wizard, so this is how it looks. So the only advantage here is it will skip all those triggers and things, and it will eliminate the duplicates. But here you cannot export the data outside, or you cannot delete any data through this. Okay, and through this you cannot import opportunity case campaign. As I mentioned, only particular standard data can be done here. Okay, let me go through fast. So data loader, so this is how it looks. Okay, so that data loader, you have, it's an application that you have to download, and then from that you can go to data loader, and then you have to do some authorization. You have to log in through your Salesforce credential from data loader, and then you will get this page. Okay, so here there is insert, update, upsert, delete, export, and export all. These are all the options that are provided. So since through the name you can find that you can insert the record, update, delete, or even delete the, you can just you should have the ID, Salesforce ID, and then if you just have only those ID of that particular object, and then go to delete, and then load that sheet as I shown that all the all the data will get deleted. Okay, and if you want to export particular object, you can choose particular object. For example, student, you want to export all the student data, then you have to click export, and then click the object, what object you want to do. You can export all the fields, or you can export only the necessary fields that you need, and then just click export. You have to give some local path where it should get saved, then automatically it will save that. Export all will export all the objects, all the data, not the metadata, all the data from the Salesforce. So the only disadvantage here is it will trigger the any custom process that we have. You can inactive, make it as deactivate, but if you have multiple triggers, then it's difficult to inactive all those things, right? If it is a trigger, you cannot deactivate. If it is a workflow or any flow that you will study in upcoming sections, so at that time we will teach you like how it works when the data is getting important, how the trigger works, how the workflow works, everything that will be covered. So these are all the advantages. As I've already mentioned, you can determine the batch size. For example, you have 1,000 records, but you don't want to, sometimes you just have to go with as batch. You can set up to 200 level. So 200, first 200 will get loaded, next 200 will load. So like that, you can set the batch size also. And you can store the mapping for the future use. Sometimes this is like a daily work, or like, you may do this import most of the time, then you can save the mapping so that next time you don't have to manually map. You can just choose the file and then do the import. Okay, and you can also schedule the loader this particular time. For example, you may have lakhs of records and Salesforce might take longer time. So what you can do is night time you can just schedule it, then you can go for sleep, and next day the data will be ready for you. So if there is no any internet connection issue or any other area, all the records will be provided. So the data loader will also provide a success file and error file. Okay, So if you're loading 1000 records, if it is success, it will provide it as a success folder. It will have a separate file, and if you face any error, it will it will have a separate spreadsheet, and from that you can find what error it is. You can correct that, and again you can load it. So that is how data loader works. So this is the difference, as we already discussed, is only 50,000. It will prevent duplicate, and it will choose whether or not to do the triggers. But here you can load up to 50,000, 5 million record. You can load all the object. You can schedule your import, and you can have the mapping for later use. And since here you cannot export or delete in the import wizard, but in loader you can export or delete the data. Okay. So data migration and quality. So I'll just go through all these slides. So basically, if you're going to do any migration, first step is we need to clean the data. We have to check whether the duplicate is there. We have to correctly map all those. So as I have shown you, like here, so this column name, right? So we have to try to match this to the field name in the Salesforce. For example, first name is the same field name in the contact also, right? So if you do that, the mapping time is reduced, because as Salesforce automatically do mapping for you, it will see the name and then it will go to the particular field and map it automatically. So what we have to do is we need to keep that in mind, that have the same name in the column as well as in the matching with the Salesforce object field. So these are the loading options that you can work. Import wizard, loader. We have the integration, and workbench is also one of the third-party one. Through your Salesforce credential authorization, you can get the data in that and work in workbench also. Okay. So if you have lot number of as these triggers, workflow, and validation in the org, it will take time to load. So based on that, you have to keep the batch size. Since I mentioned that if you have lot of process, okay, then it's better to keep the batch size as 1, so that it will calculate the first record and then do all the process and then come to the second, third, fourth. So based on your process and the triggers, the batch size should be increased or decreased. Okay. So insert is the most fastest operation that is done by the data loader. So this is how the file looks. I think I have already shown you that. This is the row is called a record, and this is a column with a name. So that's that. Okay. I think this I have already mentioned that resolve any duplicate record before loading. I have to remove the blanks and empty spaces. Okay. So if there is a blank, then while mapping, Salesforce finds difficult because there is no column, right? For example, there is A column, no B column, but there is C column. Then it will take it as an issue. And please make sure that there is no blank value. If there is a blank, then it will create it as a blank value only. Instead of that, you can just remove it. Okay. And while updating also, we have to make sure that, for example, you have already created record. Okay, you want to update any 2 fields. Make sure that you have only those 2 fields in the spreadsheet. If you have all the fields and you keep it as blank, then it will update the existing field as blank. So that will lead to a data loss. So all the time when you're doing a data update or data anything, just make sure to take a backup and then do this data insert or update. Okay. And then renaming the column header to match the field name. So that is one of the important one. And consistent standard for date formats. So Salesforce has a particular date format. It will accept only those, like it will accept month, date, and then year if it's a date field. And then for date time, you have a particular format. So we have to make sure that the field value matches that date format, or else it will throw an error that the format is missing or the format is incorrect. Then what we have to do, we have to again check what is the issue. So whatever the issue, the loader will provide you the error also. Most of the time it will exactly tell you what is the error, so that it will be easy for us to find the error and update it again. Okay. So these are the additionals that we have. I think we already discussed while we are working on this itself. So field accessibility is nothing but, since Nanda mentioned that there is a profile and you can control the field view access, right? You can read or you can make it visible. So if you going to do any data import, you should have the edit permission for that particular field. So those will be covered in the next session, next class also, but I'll give a just high level one. Okay, so that is called something called field access. You should have the access to the object as well as the field to do this operation, or else it will throw an error to you. And then the pick list field that we already saw, if it is an unrestricted pick list, then it will import the file. If it restricted pick list and your, for example, the state field, okay, there is Kerala, Maharashtra and Tamil Nadu, you are trying to load Karnataka, and but there is a restricted pick list enable, means it will throw an error, you cannot load it. So you have to make sure that that value is already existing in the Salesforce, so use only those fields, okay, sorry, those values. If it is unrestricted, means it will allow, but it will go and save it in an inactive value. So if you see in the pick list, you will have active values, inactive values, so it will go and save it under inactive. Okay, owner, I have already said, right, you can change the owners also. So if you are changing owner from Nanda to Surya, Surya should also have the permission to that object or that field, anything, so that only you can update it, or else it will never update. Okay, so the same goes for checkboxes. For checkboxes, what we have to do is, it is just a tick mark, right? So how can we give the value for the checkbox? So that's like Boolean value. If it is need to be checked, we have to give it as true. If it need to be unchecked, we have to give it as false. Okay. So the default values, everything, if you do not map any value for the pick list or checkbox, whatever you give it as a default in the field level or record type level, it will populate those values. Okay. So the date time we already mentioned. Formula fields, as we already mentioned, it is a read-only field. You cannot import that value. Okay. So that's all these are the same also. So if it is a validation, for example, someone asked, can I have custom validation for 2 fields? If the phone number is this, it should not be more than 10, right? So for example, you have a validation like that, and you have 11 numbers in your phone number field. Through the input, it will not allow you to input. It will show an error that validation fails, something like that. So the same goes for required field. If you do not have the value for any required field, it will not allow you to import the file. Okay, so here comes the one that Nanda mentioned, that required in the page level and object level. So if you keep the field as required in the page level, then you can skip. It will skip and it will load the data. But if you have the required in the object level, then you cannot skip it. You should have the value, or else it will throw an error. Okay. So the owner field is value. It will take, for example, I am Surya Murthy, but that account has to be in Nanda's name. Okay. So if I didn't give Nanda's ID as owner, then as I am doing the data update, it will put my name in the owner field. Okay. So to make sure that this particular people has to be the owner of the record, we need to populate the value. Otherwise, whoever is doing the data, doing the input, it will take that value. Okay. Same goes with the currency field. So Salesforce provides a lot of currency like USD, INR, Euro, like everything. So if you don't populate that value also, it will check your org's currency. Okay, there is a currency in your org level, user level. So it will take that default currency. Okay. Yeah, this I have already mentioned, like inactive and new value. Okay. So, for example, the next, as I mentioned in the account, if you're going to update a record, okay, you have already created some record. Now I want to do some update in the contact. How can we do? Okay. So we have this ID, right? Since from the beginning, we were saying this ID is a unique identifier. You have to have all those ID. Okay. For example, if I want to do an update on this, so I have to have a contact ID here. Since I don't have any edit. Okay, so you have to have a contact ID column and have all these ID exported from Salesforce. You can export it from you can take it from the URL. If it is 1 or 2, you can take it from the URL. If it's more than 100, how can we take? So we can do an export through data loader, and you can get the contact ID, and you have VLOOKUPs in the Excel, right? Some formulas you should do, and then match it with the contact, and then you can load it to the Salesforce. So basically ID is used mainly to update a Salesforce record. So you have to have ID like here, and then name, and then all your other value which are going to update. Okay. Okay, this I think we have already covered. Go to the next one. So these are all the best practice. I think this also mostly I would have covered. You have to clean up the data. So if you need any fields for particular, you may have the column in the sheet, but that is not been mapped to Salesforce because there is no matching field in the Salesforce. So make sure that we create a field matching to that and then do the import. Okay. So you have to do some keep 1 or 2 records as a test and do a batch and then find if there is any issue and then go with the real time data. Okay. And this is the main point that, for example, now we are in Indian time, your client is US time. Okay. Then means what you have to do is, if you're doing any data, make sure that we do in their half hours. That means since our working time will be their sleep half hours time, right? So what, make sure that not only I'm not telling the US client, any clients, make sure that we do this data update in their half not working time. Okay, not the business hours, because you may create new, you may do some update, they will do some work from their side also, that will mess up things, right? You have different data from you, they will do some updates in that record also, so that will lead to data loss. So make sure that we do in their not in the business hours. Okay, so this we already discussed, and these are all not supported through import, and yeah, this is also we already discussed. Okay, I think we have two more two more title. One is backup option, another one is restore. So backup is nothing but you have these data, right? So you need to take all the backup of all these data. For example, you may do some other big functionality changes going to come, or you want to have a copy of data, anything, for any purpose you're going to have backup, and these are all the options. Okay, so reports, I think you will, what is a report, everything that you will learn in the next Sunday section, I think. So report is also, I think it's a basic report. You will have the records, and in that you will have an export button. Okay, when you click that, it will just download the CSV file or XLS file, anything, any format that you choose, it will download that. Okay, but it can be a manual, or you can automate that also. Data loader, as I have already mentioned, you have an export all function, right, button. Through that you can export all the data, but that will be manual. Okay, and there is a weekly data export service. Quickly show you what is that. Okay, just go to setup and then click data export. Okay, so you'll have this in the data export. You're able to see my screen, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, sorry. So here you have export now and schedule export, right? So you can schedule your export also, or you can just click export now, and what object you are going to export, everything you can choose here. You want to export all the objects, you can just choose all of them and then click start export, it will be available. Okay, so here you may have files also, like attachments, images that are being attached to the particular record. You want to include those also, then you have to just click that. Then means all the images will also be backed up. Okay, so for example, now I'll just, if you just click include all data, it will take all, but I don't want all data, I just want only like account. Okay, then start export, then the account will alone will get exported. Okay, so you will have a job created here, so through this you can find export is done or not, but it will be there for only 48 hours. Okay, after that it will get deleted. So what you have to do, you want to again do an export. So you may ask why I have to do this export then. So after this export is done, you will get an email. Okay, so through that you can download it, but you want to see here anything you want to check me, then it will be there only for 48 hours. Okay, so this is something called data export. let me go to, yeah, this is how the data export works. Okay, so the main function, the main consideration is the for roll up summary fields that we have discussed, right? So that are excluded, that cannot be stored. Okay. Okay, so we have two functions called mass delete and mass transfer. So mass delete is nothing but from the name itself you can find that you can mass delete, you can delete all the records through the export, I mean data loader also, or else there is a inbuilt function in the Salesforce that provides you to delete all the records. So you just have to go to mass delete, but it will be available only for these options, like I mean these object: account, lead, activity, contact, case, solution, product and report. So these are all the standard, some of the standard object that Salesforce supports to do the mass delete. So if you're going to delete any other objects, it's better to go with the data loader. Okay? So you have to just come into this, and then you don't have to delete all the record. You want to delete only particular means you just have to give some criteria here, and then whichever um, account matching those criteria will be displayed, you can just click delete to delete that. Okay, so these options is, if it is an account, opportunities are also associated to accounts, right? So you just have to choose whether we need to uh, delete those accounts that are connected to this opportunity or not. Example, I mean mainly the closed one opportunity. Okay, and then you have to choose the another owner property here. So if you need to delete the account, for example Nanda can be having an account, I am also having an account. So if I want to click that account also, then I have to check this, or else it will not delete. Okay, so this permanently delete is something that um, so Salesforce always has this recycle bin. We all know what recycle bin is, right? So if you delete anything, it will go and get added to the recycle bin, right? So that you can restore it back from the recycle bin. So if you just click this option, then it will not go to recycle bin. Okay, it will straight away delete all those records, and there is no way you're going to get back that record. So we have to make sure that we don't need this permanently, or you may need these means you just no need to check this. It will be in the recycle bin for 15 days. After that you can restore it. Okay, so this is called mass delete. And then there is one called mass transfer. So mass transfer, as I have already mentioned, you can transfer the ownership of particular record from particular user. Okay, so these are all the options that Salesforce is providing. For example, now transfer students I'm clicking, then you will have user, from which user I have to go to which. So from Nanda you can transfer to Surya. So just have to click this lookup, and then you will have all the users available here. Just have to choose from which user I am going to do. Okay, so Nanda is Salesforce admin, then I am going to transfer it to this user. Okay, so you may have hundreds of users, so it's very easy to transfer, only particular fields. For example, if student name, or else student name not, for example if their city is Chennai, those users record alone should be moved from Salesforce admin to test user. So in that you can give all these criterias, and based on the criteria you can move the transfer. Okay, you can just click find, and then when you click transfer here, all the record. Okay, let me just equals. Okay, if you click find, okay, there's no record. Go to state equals Kerala. Okay, I have one record, right? So just click this. So this is already in Salesforce demo. So you can just if I click transfer, then that will be the owner will be transferred from my name, I mean demo name, to test user. That is completed. You may have thousands of records to do, so that you can simply select all those and then click transfer. So this is called mass transfer. Okay, so this is something that Salesforce inbuilt provides. I mean provides as an inbuilt function. So I think this is the last one. I think so. So the recycle bin, as I have already mentioned, all the deleted records will be stored in the recycle bin for 15 days. So you can restore it back within that, or else it will be after that. If you see, the records will not be available there also. So simply you can just, there is two views. One is my bin and all recycle. My bin will be working for all this standard users, and the admin user can have all the view. Okay, so you just have to check whichever record you need to restore and then click undelete, so that it will automatically get created in the particular object. Okay, so if you have modify all data, that is, you will see in the profile permissions. If you have this permission only, you will be able to see all the recycle bin. Okay. Okay, this is the last one, getting data from different sources. So this is what we are saying initially, that you may have the data entered manually, or you may import the data using data loader, data import anywhere. And there is custom integration also. So for example, if it is an SQL, Salesforce provide an integration through which you can connect the two database, and then through that also you will get records. And these are some of the integration third party tools like Zapier, Informatica, MuleSoft. From there also, that acts as a middleware, and from that also you will get the data. So uh, that is the meaning, like getting data from different sources. You may get it from website, portal, anywhere you may get it, right? So these are all like a minimum amount. So in the future upcoming sessions, people will explain more about the integration, API, everything. So this is the basic. Nanda, you want to add anything on this?
No, Surya.
Okay.
This one. Okay. Okay, yeah, we already seen the manual entry, right, using the UI, and just now we saw about data loader, data import wizard and all. And the third one is the custom integration using API, right? So basically we'll use the Apex to integrate both the systems. Salesforce is API enabled environment. So the third party system have an API, so we can easily integrate with that third party system, or else we can go with the third party integration tools like Zapier, Informatica, and then MuleSoft, Delbumi. There are various third party integration tools are also available. I think in chat one of the people have asked, is there any automatic solutions to transfer data, right? So by using that Zapier or Informatica or Delbumi, we can create a triggering logic. We can configure the triggering logic, and if that particular record is created in one third party system, and automatically that record will be created in Salesforce. That can be done using some third party integration, or we can use an Apex also to integrate the other third party system to create the data, and yeah, we can do that.
Yes, I think that is all we have. So yeah, thank you. And